Good day, students. It's class time. Watch lessons in real time on the Television Jamaica YouTube channel or One Spot Media. We also are live on gojamaica.com. If you have questions on today's subject, you can send them to Television Jamaica Facebook page at Television Jamaica or Instagram at television_Jamaica or use the hashtag TVJClassTime. I am Sean Lawton. And it's now time for CSEC Visual Arts. In this session, I will be interviewing an artist to help guide you as you prepare to do your reflective journals. Okay, so today's objectives. By the end of today's lesson, we are hoping that you, the students, will be able to develop an understanding of how to go about interviewing an artist, right? You need to be able to select an artist based on the theme or your style or technique as a visual arts student. We are also hoping that you'll be able to develop an interview schedule. Now, this is critical to you preparing the biography for the artist. But this schedule clearly will be informed by some important information that we will be going through later, right? The next objective is that we want you, the student, to be able to develop, conduct an interview and document pertinent information. Collect sample images that reflect or support your theme, style, or technique. And so we're going to jump right into our lesson at this time. And the first thing that we need to understand as we are going to prepare ourselves to conduct this artist interview is, what's the purpose of the interview? I know a lot of times students are given the responsibility to do research on an artist of interest, and many times we're tempted to choose the easy way out. We run to the internet and we pull down a lot of information from the internet, and it becomes impersonal. There's no real meaningful connection between you, the student, and the artist. And so the influence that we would want to see the artist have in helping you to develop your individual creative language is lacking. And so today we're going to try and see how best we can help you to understand how to go about, identify reasons why we should conduct this artist interview. The first reason is that it gives you an opportunity to better understand the artist. You see, we can't ask the printed text that is posted on the internet, what do you mean by this? Or to give me further insight. It's static, okay? But the artist in real life will give you an opportunity to learn and understand all of that, okay? The second reason for us to want to conduct this artist interview is that it gives us first-hand access to information that would help us to be able to put together a comprehensive biography of the artist that we would have selected. Okay, so the next reason is that it helps us to make more meaningful connections between the works that we are producing and also the works of the artist. And this will be especially helpful with the production of your critique, okay? The fourth reason, students will be able to garner greater insights into the artist's approach as it relates to things like the theme that the artist will work with, the techniques applied by the artist, the styles that the artist will explore, subject matter, and use of materials and tools. And it is important, I cannot overstate this, important that we at least try and, understand that and appreciate that only the artist at times will be able to give you information as it relates to these critical points. So, what do I need to know to be able to conduct an effective artist interview? What do I need to know? A lot of times when we interact with artists, we get what I like to describe as the wow factor. You're excited by, how impactful the artist's work is. And at times that is not enough for you to take to the artist when you're going to interact with him in an interview. There are things that you may want to know relative to the creative process and art as a discipline that will help you to frame more meaningful and impactful questions. And so some of those things is that you need to be aware of certain key vocabularies. And these vocabularies we would include, you need to know about technique, you need to know about style, you need to know about composition and compositional devices. Now, it don't make any sense you try to interact with an artist and we're going to ask the artist now about techniques and you don't understand what technique is. How are you going to do a proper assessment of the artist's techniques? And if you can't tell the difference between technique and style, then, you might find yourself in a bit of a quandary. Okay, compositions. Different types of compositions. Be aware of different types of compositions. So when you interact with the artist, you will be able to recognize one composition approach different from another. All right, so now we're going to help you to understand, some of these key concepts in a little bit more detail. So when we talk about composition, what you, the student would want to do is that you'd like to understand the decisions made by the artist in planning how the artwork is organized, right? Because a lot of times artists do this strategic planning to influence the perspective or the perception and the aesthetic experience of an audience. And here we have some examples of compositions. We have the S composition or the compound curve. We have the cross, we have the triangle, we have the steelyard, we have the radiating lines, and we also have the O or circular composition. Now, let us just focus a little bit on one of these. Now, if you look at the steelyard, which is this one right here, what you will notice is that the compositional device known as isolation would have been used here, wherein this part of the subject matter or the composition is isolated from the other, and how it is arranged. This half of the composition is occupied largely by this what appears to be a tree in the foreground, as opposed to this aspect here that has a smaller one in the background. It creates a sense of visual balance. Also, the idea of convergence. So convergence has to do with how the artist would have designed the composition in such a way that all the design elements, they pull together and meet at a particular point. Now the triangle, I may focus a little bit on that one as well, has to do with, arranging certain imagery within the composition in a triangular formation, such as what appears to be a tree here, one here, and also the clouds in the top right there. So those are just some things you need to know about composition. If you don't understand these things, technically what is going to happen is that when you see it being practiced by an artist, you would be limited in the kind of questions that you could ask the artist about why he or she would have taken a particular route. All right, so technique. What is technique? Because I know a lot of times we confuse technique and styles. They're quite different. So technique basically has to do with a systematic procedure or an approach, okay? It has to do with how you actually go and execute the work, right? what is the method that you use to accomplish this particular task. So here we have these spheres that would have been executed using different techniques. So we have the tonal technique right here. We have a smudge technique here. We have a hatching and cross-hatching. Different techniques to accomplish more or less the same thing at the end of the day, but it's different in terms of how you go about executing. Okay? So when we talk about style now, so style is basically determined by the characteristics or the features of the artwork. And this may have to do with the unique way, or what I like to call the artist's expressive language. So it's unique to this particular artist. So we have here Mr. Albert Huey, who looks a little bit more like an impressionist artist, and we have Ms. Samir Tansley, who is more of a realist artist. Okay? Now, as from the student's perspective, there are some things that you need to know or need to establish to determine, you know, how to lay some groundwork and to help you to determine how you're going to go about selecting the artist. What are some things that you, the student, and your part need to do to establish as reasons? So as a student, I am interested in creating artworks that explore the theme cultural identity. I'm drawn to realism as a style, and I want to learn how to improve my painting skills. Okay? I also would like to learn how to become a more successful artist. Right? And so these things, if you have these as your objectives and you know what it is that you would like to accomplish as a part of your artistic journey, these, you know, reasons, and I'm not saying that these are the only reasons, but these are pretty good reasons from which you can be guided. So, now, what do you need to include in this artist statement, or not the artist statement rather, but to include in your biography? So here we have an artist, and we will be exploring or interviewing this artist further on in our presentation. But some of the questions that you want to make sure you capture will satisfy the criteria of the biography, such as who is the artist, what kind of artist is he, and we're also looking at the education and training, what is his or her creative process, influences that he would encounter, what is his theme, any special awards, any exhibitions, okay? So these are some of the things that you want to create questions around to pull from the artist. Now today we have with us, we will be interviewing in today's lesson one of our Jamaican artists, and he is none other than Mr. Lenox Cook. And he will be sharing with us today all about his creative process, what influences him as an artist, and he was specifically selected, might I add. He was specifically selected because I am now playing the role of a student who works in the expressive form, painting and mixed media. And I am interested in cultural identity. And his theme is culture and lifestyle. Now, we're going to pause right here. But when we get back, we'll interview the artist. Stay with us.
Here, interactive classes for all ages on the School Time channel on onespotmedia.com. With a combination of live Zoom classes and recorded class time, Schools Not Out lessons, and numerous educational content, we've created a comprehensive 24-hour channel dedicated exclusively to educating our nation's youth. Early childhood through to primary, secondary and tertiary, it's one stop on one spot for education 24 hours. Brought to you by the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information in association with Television Jamaica Limited.
Reduce your risk of viral illnesses like the flu and coronavirus. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water. Cover your nose and mouth when coughing with a tissue and dispose of it. Avoid close contact with anyone with a cold or flu-like symptoms. If you become ill, please visit your doctor or the nearest health center and share your travel history. The flu and coronavirus can kill. Let's protect each other. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Hi there, I'm Simon Preston from TVJ. Thank you very much for watching our YouTube channel. To see our latest videos and also to see live events, click here. To see our full videos on onespotmedia.com, click here. Thank you very much.
It's here. Interactive classes for all ages on the School Time channel on onespotmedia.com. With a combination of live Zoom classes and recorded class time, Schools Not Out lessons, and numerous educational content, we've created a comprehensive 24-hour channel dedicated exclusively to educating our nation's youth. Early childhood through to primary, secondary and tertiary, it's one stop on one spot for education 24 hours. Brought to you by the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information in association with Television Jamaica Limited.
COVID-19 tip. Protect yourself and others from getting sick by washing your hands after coughing or sneezing, when caring for the sick, before, during, and after you prepare food, before eating, after toilet use, when hands are visibly dirty, and after handling animals or animal waste.
It's here. Interactive classes for all ages on the School Time channel on onespotmedia.com. With a combination of live Zoom classes and recorded class time, Schools Not Out lessons, and numerous educational content, we've created a comprehensive 24-hour channel dedicated exclusively to educating our...
Welcome back. We're continuing our lesson on interviewing an artist. I am here with Mr. Lenox Cook. Sir, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
We must thank you for joining us in this educational exercise.
You're welcome.
And we would like to start off our interview with this, this question. Just share with our viewers, who is Lenox Cook? Who is he as an artist?
Lenox Cook is a Jamaican international fine artist, visual artist. I was born and grew up in St. Elizabeth, in a district called Taunton. It is a farming community.
Okay.
And from an early year growing up, the love for nature and the love for ordinary working people have an imprint on my mind. And so hence, these are some of the elements that I'm drawn to when it comes on to executing and developing an art piece, because I see it as a celebration of our social culture and a way how we can share our experience to the world.
Okay, that's interesting. So most of what you would have experienced growing up as a child would have basically influenced the artwork that you create.
Yes, it have a endemic part in my creative process.
And what would some of those experiences be?
Well, as I say, I grew up in a farming community. Both parents, farmers, and also people who work on the farm, you know, interaction with them. And the thing that working people, you know, the tales of the social tales and things like those influence my work tremendously. When you look in my work, you seen stories. You see that conversation that continue, and that is a great part of us. And I see it as a way of me celebrating us as a people. Because so many times we've been looking outside ourselves for things to connect with. When we have it all within us, we have it within our expression, our language, and our art. And this is fundamental to me, and this is what I want to portray, you know, both to us as a people and both to the wider community.
Right, because a lot of times, you know, we tend to not appreciate the impact that our lived experiences will have on us and how they actually contribute to the development of our creative voices. I especially like this piece here that that you have with the what appears to be farmers working in what kind of farm is this, Mr. Cook?
Yes, well, as I mentioned before, I grew up in a farming community, but most of the farming was based on sugarcane. Because where I born and grew up is very close to the Upperton sugarcane factory. And a lot of people in the community would either work at the factory or cultivate sugarcane. So this scene depicts the young sugarcane growing up, and people would work in the field to make sure that the field is rid of things like weed or unwanted stuff.
Wow, so
yes,
it's clear that your experience then would have, perhaps you didn't know at the time, but we can definitely see that you started to learn about perspective from a long time ago.
From a long time.
Because you would have encountered such.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So what was it like for you? I mean, just growing up, I mean, what was that like for you? Did you always know that you were going to become an artist? Did you choose to become an artist? How did that play out?
I would answer this question, as I do many a time, that art chose me. I was always a creative person since I know myself. Making toys and drawing stuff about myself and my peers would really find it fun to come and see what I've developed each day or what I draw each day. I would be drawing, when I start school, I would be drawing school project for the class. I would be drawing project for other student who was unable to do so. And I find it a very rewarding a discipline for me to do.
Okay. Yes. This piece here shows the boys playing cricket. Is this typical of, I mean, your experience growing up?
This is typical of my experience growing up. This would be like in the summertime. We would play in the area that the sugarcane would be reaped, and then we would have that whole plain just to play around and knock the ball. You know, some of my creativity in creating ball that we could play with. At first, you know, I
you made your own cricket ball?
I made my own cricket ball, you know.
Really?
Yes.
How did you guys do that? The box thing that you tie up, or was it
First, I start with plaiting leather together over a solid surface.
Really?
And then I move on actually to melting plastic on a heated surface.
Okay.
And was able to make a round cricket ball from that.
Oh, wow.
You know.
And so it was more or less similar to the weight
real,
of it,
yes.
and the hardness of it?
And
wow.
the real cricket ball that was used at that time.
Okay, so how did you guys do, what did you do for like the bats and stuff like that? So
yes, I also make the bat, you know, makeshift bat from, you know, coconut bowl or just a piece of board lying around, I would use that to shape it out in a bat. And we would use anything that around just to make the cricket or the base. You know, so we were very, very resourceful, and very creative in finding ways of enjoying ourselves growing up.
So the need for play would have played a significant role in your creative development.
In my creative process, yes.
So you had to make most of your toys.
Yes.
But that's interesting.
And also,
that's very interesting.
as showing this creative element early, people would look to me. You know, my peers would look to me to create these stuff.
Oh, wow.
You know, yes.
Wow, that is interesting. So in a sense that your artistic training would have started informally from you just playing and needing to, but I mean,
definitely.
How did, I mean, your formal artistic training, how was that accomplished or achieved?
Well, even though I was creative from and of myself, it was a bit suppressed. So I didn't pay any attention to art or drawing formally growing up. When I was going to high school, I can't remember being in the art department.
Really?
You know, because...
That is surprising.
Yes, yes, it is. But especially when my mom would say, you know, every book that have an empty page would be a drawing on it. And it was, you know, didn't take kindly. She didn't take that kindly. So I wouldn't dare tell her that I need a drawing pencil or, you know, drawing pencil or a sketch pad, which was much more expensive.
Why not?
It was expensive and it wouldn't seem being necessary at the time.
Wasn't important?
I don't
want to put words in your mouth.
Not to my parents, because art was looked at as just a hobby or something that you do.
Oh.
Yes. But it was after growing up and leave high school, I came to Kingston. And art was always there, but it never conceived in my mind that I would pursue it as a career choice. So it actually was discovered, like rediscovered, by someone I was working with at the time.
Oh, really?
And they saw this creativeness in me. I was drawing as always because it's a way of giving me that sense of solitude.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And they saw my drawing and saying, I didn't know that you have this talent. Mm-hmm. Did you ever consider going to Edna? And, you know, that is where you'd call it like a light bulb moment.
We should thank the Lord for that person, right?
You know, that is where it basically was reintroduced. And my interest, you know, started there. And when I went to Edna, I realized that art is much more than drawing. Actually, art everything that we see around us, it consists of some element of art, you know, because it's a creative process, you know. So then I started study there, and I realized that there is no limitation to what I can achieve.
Excellent.
You know.
Excellent.
Yes.
So you would have gotten some formal training from Edna Manley, which is what accounts for you being a painter today.
Yes.
And one of our celebrated painters, might I add.
Thank you.
So talk to us a little bit about your creative process. I know as an artist, I like to do the sketch, plan out the composition, make notes, what I intend to do and that sort of thing. What is your creative process like?
My creative process is almost straightforward. It's like I actually create the image in my head first.
Oh, okay.
You know, so when I reach the easel on the canvas, I have a clear idea of what I want to capture on this canvas. And I make sketch in a sense, but the sketch that I make is on the canvas surface right there, because then I would have the image in my head already and what I want to achieve. So I use my brush and paint to make my sketches, so to speak, on the surface that I'm working on.
Wow,
you know,
that is amazing.
Yeah.
Most of us have to plan it out. Was it always like that?
It was always like that. I find it to be double work to sketch with a pencil and then go and paint.
Okay.
You know, I find it too much of...
To be double work.
To be a double work, yeah.
Well, I don't find it to be double work for those of us listening at home. I actually find it to be quite helpful in terms of, you know, structuring my ideas and you know, planning out everything so it expresses exactly what I want to express. But clearly, what is natural to you might not necessarily be natural to another person.
Because, you know, that there is not a one-way fit all. So a student need to find out what they're good at and what they're comfortable at and use that approach. And so it is very important for them to learn different approach so that they can lean more to the one that would suit their style or suit them more comfortably.
You use a lot of vibrant colors in your paintings, Mr. Coke. A lot of vibrant colors, and you represent a lot of lighting every day. For a matter of fact, most of your painting look like a sunny day. There's not a cloudy day in any of your paintings. You know, well, why is that so?
We are a vibrant people. We live in the tropic. Even the way how we express ourselves to each other is very expressive. And these are elements that I want to show in my work. I want to show life. I want to show rhythm. I want to show the vibrancy of our culture. And I find using the color in a pronounced way, it shows all of these elements. It also shows confident.
Okay.
Confident both in my work and my approach, and confident in our people.
Okay.
And we need to project that because, as I said before, we don't need someone else to always be looking to them to validate us. We need to be proud of what we have and exhibit what we have. It's only after exhibiting what we have, then others will look at it and say, wow, this is something.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there you have it, Mr. Lenox Coke. We are a colorful people. All right, that's really great. So do you, I mean, in your creative process though, do you normally, let's say, do studies of certain subject matters that you represent in your artwork?
Yes, I do. I do studies. I'm a very observant person. Whatever environment I'm in, I'm observing the environment very meticulously. And there are things in that environment that will appeal to me artistically that maybe won't appeal to another person.
Right.
So I go to the marketplace regularly. You know, I stay there for quite a long time, just observing, listening to the conversation. Because when I'm working on a subject, I want to know the subject inside out, so to speak. You know, I want to the subject become part of me. So when I'm presenting this subject, I'm presenting this subject with a large degree of
conviction.
Yes, of confidence. That this is how it is, and this is also how I want it
to represent.
Yes.
You know, it's funny that you say that, because in a previous lesson that we had here, we would have looked at a statement that was made by Leonardo da Vinci, who said that he first goes to conduct his investigations and find out, try to understand all about the subject that he will be representing. Exactly. And then once he gathers that information, he now uses the information from his studies to inform why such and such should be a particular way. That is very interesting.
Exactly.
Very, very interesting.
That is what I do.
So basically your theme, as we can see coming out in your works here, is a form of social commentary.
Yes, it is. It is somewhat a form of social commentary. Also, I see it as a platform where I can celebrate, as I said, our culture and create a cultural footprint, because from time to time we need point of reference, we continue to evolve as a people. Generation to come will need that space or that reference that they can connect. What was here before?
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
we have just come here.
Yes.
There's something that was here before us. And I find a shortcoming in certain aspect of our life that we don't have enough bridge. We have too much gap
Okay.
in our process, in our cultural process and in our approach to things.
Okay.
So I think my work can create that bridge to gap one expression to the next.
Okay. All right. Thanks for sharing that. So, any special awards, exhibitions?
Yes,
Have you had the privilege of, doing such locally or overseas?
Yes, art has been kind to me as I've been kind to art.
Really?
And I have I have like 3 certificate of merit from JBDC, our Bronze Award. I recently have an honorable mention and a certificate of excellence from Circle Foundation, which is based in France.
Oh, wow.
And that happened.
France.
And that happened during the COVID time.
During the COVID
Yes.
time.
So I'm saying
Wow.
in every situation there are opportunity there.
Yes.
We need to find that opportunity and we need to capitalize on the opportunity that is there.
So how did this honorable mention, perhaps on an international stage, what did that mean for you in terms of economic, the business part of art?
Yes, it means a lot because it's also show that outside of Jamaica, I have an audience that is appreciative of my work. Also, it opened doors for me to generate income from a wider audience.
Okay.
Because I see my work as an international,
Yes.
So
as you had mentioned earlier in our prior conversations, that you have more people living out there than what
more
we have living-
Jamaican. Yeah. But I also want to reach to other people that maybe experience Jamaica in somewhat or just hear about Jamaica.
How were you, Mr. Cook, if I might just pull this last bit of information from you? How were you able to learn the business of art? Was that from your school experience or did you have to learn that on your own? How were you able to make this a viable source of income for you?
Yes,
Because is art able to pay all your bills? Are you able to live comfortably? Because people don't believe that,
A lot of people don't believe, but I think it's a misconception. Art is a multi-million-dollar business annually.
Yes.
And I think we selling ourselves short. Is not to earning enough from art. We need a more viable art industry in Jamaica. And then we could see great reward from art. I was able to do the business based on my own discovery. I remember went to New York and going to the bookshop looking for art materials. And I come upon this book called The Business of Being an Artist. And that book has helped me tremendously in my whole approach.
Okay.
Because so much of us see art as a hobby.
Yes.
And because of that, we don't take it serious. But I take it very, very serious. Right now, in recent time, I'm looking at ways to license my image so manufacturer can use my image on their product. There is a latest thing where you call digital frame that you can actually sell your image and they can use it on a phone screen, they can beam it on a big projector or a wall also. So the way of making
a lot of
making a reasonable or even a very good living from art is limitless.
Right.
But you have to be there. You have to go there. You have to push your work. You have to I use all the social media platform for my work. Whenever you look online, you just look Jamaican art, Lenox Cook gonna be there.
Yes. I would have experienced that in my preparations for this interview. Yes. And no doubt you would have been selected as one of the artists and I think you were featured some years ago on one of our telephone directories
Yes,
with some of the artworks that you would have created.
Yes, I did the yellow page in 2017. Yes, I did the cover for the yellow page, which a lot will remember caused some controversy, but it was me expressing part of our social culture just the same, because music has played a great role in Jamaican identity, and the dancehall aspect was part of that. Some people accept it, some don't, but I think what it does at that time is give art a conversation.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, well, we thank you so much, Mr. Coke, for sharing with us today. It is very clear to us and evidenced by the works that you have created that you definitely represents the culture of Jamaica. I must thank you for sharing with us today, and that as a cultural ambassador, I would implore you to continue to, just influence as many as you can across this globe, so they will buy into Jamaica's culture as a creative industry.
Thank you, Sean.
You're welcome,
Yes,
sir.
and I'm too legit to quit right now.
All right, thanks for sharing that. So to basically to wrap up our lesson for today, I hope that most of our students at home, you would have benefited in some meaningful way from the interactions that we would have been blessed with the ability to have this morning with Mr. Lenox Cook, where we would have asked questions that would give us an idea of, his approach to art making. We would have explored his theme. We would have explored to some degree his approach to business and how he was able to learn the business of art by reading books and so forth. That's it for CSEC Visual Arts. Up next, we have chemistry. Stay with us.
It's here. Interactive classes for all ages on the School Time channel on onespotmedia.com. With a combination of live Zoom classes and recorded class time, schools not out lessons, and numerous educational content, we've created a comprehensive 24-hour channel dedicated exclusively to educating our nation's youth. Early childhood through to primary, secondary and tertiary, it's one stop on one spot for education 24 hours. Brought to you by the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information in association with Television Jamaica Limited.